Okay, so we are here today for our final leadership session, and it's titled Envisioning the Future. I'm joined by colleagues from Curriculum Instruction, Tammy Gaudet, Courtney Grant, Jennifer Sears, and Liz Torres. So I want to jump into just very quickly some background on where we've been and kind of where we're headed today. Just so you know, we do have one more summit on April 6th and 7th. As I said, this is going to be the final leadership session for this school year, but we do have some other things in store for you for that summit, so stay tuned to hear about that at the end of the session. Our session today continues to be based on those 10 traits of effective school leaders. And that document is linked in our resources, and it's also linked on the slide deck. So Jen has already put that in there for you so you can see that resource page. We are going to use that throughout our session today. So pull that up if you would, and just keep that open. So we have looked at our previous sessions, different traits of effective school leaders. We've looked at building community, cultivating leadership skills, leading by example, risk-taking, and today, that effective school leaders have a vision and a plan. So in order to have that vision and plan, it's always important to know where you have been. That is why today, we're going to spend some time reflecting on this school year and the ways you have grown as a teacher leader and how that will change as we move forward into the next unknown. Our agenda, let's see, my slides are just running really slow, sorry. Our agenda today, we want to look at those bridges that you crossed and maybe recrossed again this school year. And we're going to watch a short video on ways to talk about these skills that you've learned and how to move forward. And finally, we have a few activities today that carve out time for you to slow down and take some time to reflect on the enormous growth that you've made this year. So I'm going to turn it over to Jen, and she'll carry us on.
Okay, so it's actually coming to me, Mary.
Oh, I do that.
It's no problem. It's no problem. I'm Liz Torres. Thank you guys for being here. And we just want to kind of start off a little bit reflecting, just as we were talking about putting together our PD. We just couldn't believe how it's hard to believe it's been a whole year since the pandemic has changed the landscape of our existence. And I still find myself in disbelief when I'm overhearing my son, who's a 16-year-old at Valley High School, going to school in my kitchen. And it makes me worry about our kids and all the things that they might be missing in their lives right now and how their lives have changed so much because of this pandemic. I sometimes get an opportunity to overhear my son's teachers in the background. I'm not snooping, I'm just can overhear them. And I'm truly amazed by their ability to power through these new challenges that they've been faced with and really work to reach their students. So I'm always in awe with them. When I was 15, I lost my mom to cancer after a 2-year battle. And as you can imagine, it changed my life immensely. It was an event that forced me to grow up at an accelerated rate and miss a lot of opportunities, not just social and emotional opportunities, but educational as well. My education quickly moved to the back burner as I found myself navigating a new life that included adult-like responsibilities. My childhood was shifted in a way that forced me to learn new skills in order to support my family as we transitioned into a new way of life without my mom. It was tough, and I'm certain each of you have your own story of a time when your educational journey was challenged, redirected, or maybe even halted. Despite our own unique story, there is one story that unites all of us, and it's the story of the pandemic and how it challenged each of us in our own way. In education, the shift to virtual learning tested us and has forced us to do things differently. How we set up and organize our classrooms, how we collaborate and hold meetings, how we build relationships with one another, and how we use technology. The list goes on and on, as you all know. The video we're about to watch brings to light the concept of upskilling and reskilling. It explains how COVID-19 accelerated the need for educators to upskill, meaning enhancing our skills given the new conditions we have found ourselves in, excuse me, and reskilling, meaning learning entirely new competencies. The video also speaks to the opportunity we have as educators to assess teacher competencies and determine what competencies we need to be upskilled, enhanced, or redefined as we move into our new normal in our world of education. So please use the next 5 minutes to watch the video independently. The link is in the chat, and you can also find it embedded within the resource page that Jen left for you there. And also there's a slide up right now that you can click on the image, and you can get to the link there as well. Please stay muted and turn your cameras off while you watch the video. When done, turn your cameras back on to signal to us that you are ready to move on. Are there any questions at all before we move on? Okay, great. So we will all see you in about 5 minutes.
All right. As you probably saw in the video, there was a gentleman by the name of Alvin Toffler who talked about the illiterate of the 21st century are not going to be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot unlearn and relearn. And in thinking about those particular skills and the skill set that you guys have had to acquire this year with all of the different changes, we thought we'd take this opportunity to have you guys do some breakouts. And inside of those breakout rooms, we would like you guys to discuss these 2 questions. I have placed those, the handout again, our resource page, and inside of your handout, in case you go into the breakout and you want to refresh your memory on what 2 questions you're going to have, they are listed under the topics for breakout 1 discussion. But in there, we would like you to talk about what skills have you and your school had to unlearn and relearn, as well as what is one competency that your school should reassess moving forward. We're going to be popping you out for about 10 minutes into your breakouts. And when we come back, we're going to kind of close this piece and talk a little bit about what resonated with you. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes. That was a perfect example. It was, you're giving me a high five because you know that's what we all do. So probably, as you guys have already discussed inside your group, there are things that you have had to unlearn and to relearn. Definitely, I know for us with facilitation in this virtual environment, it's different dealing with that silence. So those skills that we've had to retool to be able to deal with that has been definitely something that I have really grappled with as I've been going through this time with COVID and everything. We would like to hear what you talked about in your groups. And so we would like to ask you, if you would please, what is something that was said in your small group that resonated with you? Maybe it was something about an upskill you did or a reskill, or maybe you're talking about those competencies that you're going to need to reassess going forward. And we'd like to do this in the form of a waterfall chat so that everybody kind of responds in at the same time. And so I would like you to go ahead and type in your responses about what resonated with you. And in just a few moments, I'm going to ask you to all put them in together. So we'll give you about 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All right, let's see what we thought, what was happening in our groups. Technology, definitely a curve that has hit us all. The amount of academic content learning that has happened for both teachers and students. Yes, Lawrence, 100%. We've had to change our style, absolutely, and continue to make those changes, collaborating differently, even between teachers and students. It's the collaboration is a totally different picture than what it used to be. Used to be able to walk over to somebody to, kind of prompt them, and that walking over doesn't happen in this virtual environment. And definitely rethinking those 21st century skills. Yeah, just as that gentleman talked about, it's not about reading or writing, it's unlearning and learning those skills. Excellent. Sounds like you guys had some really great conversation. So I love it. Love all the different things that you guys, and we would like to compile all of these too. I think that, hearing what's happening, going on in everybody's school and what everybody's dealing with, that is something that we'd like to do. So it's a good thing we have it down on record and we can compile that for you and send it out too as well. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, Jen. So at our first summit of the year, we asked everyone at the leadership session to create a metaphor to represent what are you like when you're at your best as a leader? And the responses, some of which are here on the screen, were beautiful. They were thoughtful and vulnerable, creative and funny, and so wise. And people spoke about being comfortable and reliable like an old truck, or helping people see something differently, like a pair of sunglasses, or being a beach that remains constant despite the changing tides. And since September, so much has happened. We've been through a lot, we've grown a lot, and we've changed. And now here we are, moving towards the spring in our last leadership session of the year. And it's time for us to take stock again of where we find ourselves, to think back to where we started and what we've learned across this year like no other. So today we want to give you some time to think about the lessons learned and the knowledge gained this year, and write a letter to your future self with advice and insight and reminders of what you are like when you're at your best as a leader. So in this letter, think about things that are really valuable and important right now. And think about lessons learned and precious knowledge. And think about goals you've achieved, who helped you, and did you thank them? And importantly, think about how has this experience challenged your vision? And how will it alter your work as an educator and a leader supporting teachers in the future? So we'd like to give you a full 10 minutes for this task. And you can write the letter on paper, or you can send an email to yourself in the future. And if you want to send your future self an email, here's a quick how-to to do a scheduled send for a future date. And Jen, would you mind showing, well, real quick, while you've got that screen up, what Jen is showing you was that document that you'll find in your resource, the session resources. And if you open, it's called letter writing directions. If you open that, it'll ask you to make a copy and you can type and edit right into that document. But here's how to do a scheduled send if you'd like to email it. Okay, so compose your email. And then when you're ready to send, click this small drop-down arrow right next to the word send, and a scheduled send button will pop up, and select it. And then from there, pick the date and the time that you want, and you can send yourself an email any date and time in the future, and Gmail will hold it for you and send it on that date. Okay, so Jen, would you go back one slide? We're gonna leave this task slide up while you're working for your reference. And remember, you've got the letter writing directions on your session resources if you'd like them. There's also a quick video there of how to do the scheduled send if you'd like to watch that. And then we ask that you turn off your camera while you write and you turn it back on when you're done. And you'll have 10 minutes for this task, and we'll give you a heads up when we have about 2 minutes left. Alrighty, go ahead and begin when you're ready, and let us know if you have any questions.
All right, everyone. So you just had an opportunity to write a letter to your future self. What we'd like you to do now, oops, my bad, is we'd like you to go ahead. We're about to send you off to breakout rooms. We want you to talk about these 2 questions. We want you to think about what practices you'll continue to use and which ones maybe you'll change based upon your experiences from this year. As well as we'd like you to think about what experience has challenged your vision from what you originally thought from the beginning of the year to now. And what have you been doing, that momentum that will help you support you thinking about yourself as a leader and supporting your teachers. So Courtney's going to send you into breakout rooms for 10 minutes. These 2 questions are actually on your resource page. So when you get in the breakout rooms, you can look back there to know which questions to talk about. And I think that's it. All right, everyone, we're going to send you out to breakout rooms, 10 minutes. Well, welcome back, everyone. As people are coming back, if you could go ahead and open up a brand new tab and go to minty.com and enter this code 7236598. I have a couple of questions for you that we'd like to get your final thoughts on. Again, welcome everyone. If you could go to minty.com and enter this code for us. In that, I have two questions for you. The first question that I'd like you guys to be thinking about is we're going to be making a word cloud. So do individual words, not full sentences. What strategies will you take from today to help foster your growth as a leader? So again, single words. And let's see what our word cloud reveals to us that we have that shows up for what are some strategies. Wow, you guys, the couple who said this got over there really fast. Thank you very much. So communication, always, always, always the key. That we want to make sure that we're communicating with each other, that we're, I love the acknowledgement, acknowledging each other's, that, oh, patience. Thank you, whoever said that, because patience really is one of the key things that I know I personally always need to work on, that I just come, let's go, let's go, let's go. And no, take a step back. Upskill the reskill, stuff we had talked about today. Yeah. So thank you everyone who's putting in their words for strategies that we're going to be really thinking about. And I appreciate that you guys were able to do that, but I can see that communication, reflection, patience, and collaboration and grace, wow, I love that one too, are going to continue to just add some more to what we're doing. All right, everyone, I'm going to give you one more second if you haven't already put something in, and I'm going to switch it over. All right. So what are some, oh, what happened here? Okay. Go ahead and add in what are some next steps in building your capacity as a leader. So I can see some people have already answered. So we have here, we're going to do personal reflection. We're going to take time to reflect. Remember, I know you guys have heard this a million times, but what I keep doing is I keep reminding me of this, is take time, stop and reflect, because that's where our true learning comes from. I know you all have heard that a million times, but I always try to reiterate it to myself because sometimes I need that reminder. Let's keep learning. Let's listen to each other. Reflecting, yep, good. This increase the engagement, getting teachers engaged as well as students. I really like that. And then, yes, we always, I said someone say here with grace, that's one that we all could live up to try to next steps. So everyone, I wanted to thank you for participating and giving us your next steps as well as strategies that you're going to be continuing using.
Okay, and as we wrap things up today, we're very grateful for your reflection today and your participation as always. I teased a little bit at the beginning about how next month is going to look slightly different. Our summits is going to be 2 days again, April 6th and 7th, but we've received a grant, and that is from Elena Aguilar and her group Bright Mornings. And they are going to be offering an equity workshop next month. It's lengthy, I will tell you that. So we've scheduled them around the lunch hour, and it'll be 4 hours each day, I think, unless it's 16 hours. There's I think it's 8 hours, but I will double check that. There is going to be a sign up in Power School. And so we encourage you to join us for that, especially if you've delved into the equity book that was purchased for all of the TLFs. So please keep that in mind. However, we will still be offering some summit sessions that don't pertain to that equity workshop, that are from outside presenters. So it will look somewhat similar to what you have been attending, but we do have the added bonus of this presentation from Bright Mornings. All right, and finally, we do want to encourage you to please take our survey in Power School. You will receive an email and the survey of a reminder, and so you'll go into Power School to take that survey. We do use your comments, we read them, so please be honest. That survey will pertain just to this session, although the last question is a little bit more general about our summit. So please do take the time to do that. We honestly use your feedback. And finally, another little shameless plug. We are here to support you. We are the PD people. So we go to your sites virtually and hopefully next year in person. But our names are there with sort of our specialties. So we have ELA, we have math, and we have social studies. But we also have science, both elementary, mid, and high. So if you're needing some support in that, please let us know. So thank you all for joining us today. We wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and at the end of the week, a wonderful finish. Thank you.